Hey guys, new video here. Warp map clear on different ascendancies. This might be a longer video, there's a lot to talk about. But as always, let's go into a map here. Let's pop the juice, and you guys can see some gameplay action before you decide if this is something that you might even want to consider as a build. So right now I'm on Deadeye. I got to 100 on my Aki, on my Occultist, and on my Pathfinder as well. It was very fast, it was very smooth. In terms of dying in maps, I actually didn't die in maps on either character as a warp. Well, the Occultist died once because I did a reflect map, but that doesn't really count, right? So no real deaths in maps on the way to 100. And as you can see the gameplay, you just like pop your warp, you collect some loot, so yeah, double sustaining. Wow. Okay, so you pop this and you just run around. You just run around real fast and you kill everything, right? You don't need to really cast that much unless you're picking up items. Okay, I'm just gonna leave that item there. Ooh, underground sea map. And oh, actually, wait, did I pick that up? No, Chow's orb here. And then we run here. We collect this. Oh, there's a box here. We're gonna hit that. All right, there it is. Oh, we gotta wait for the box to open up. All right, there we go. Collect some loot, and the map is done. Oh, we can go do the memory real quick as well. All right. And here we go. Oh, it's a. This is a Bogger's memory, so pretty good. Gonna run around here. It's a 3 node. Where is it? Is it over here? Oh yeah, it's right here. And where are we? We're over here. Let's grab this, and we're good to go. And there it is. 8 monsters remaining. Pretty good stuff. Collect my Child's Orb, go back to town. Okay, so let's talk about the build. Right now it is a Deadeye, but like I said, I played it on a Pathfinder 200, played it on an Occultist, and they are all good. I really like the Occultist at the beginning. Very good defenses, very smooth, very fast, and then I played the Pathfinder. I like the Pathfinder more, even though I had less defenses. Once again, didn't die on the way to level 100. Okay, once you got to maps, and then now I'm playing this guy, and now I like this guy more. So I thought I would make this video in the style that I'm going to talk about the build separate from the Ascendancies, and then in the description below I'll have a Pathfinder slash Deadeye POB, and then underneath that I will have a Witch Occultist POB. You can pick whichever one you like, but it really does not matter at all. I'll kind of talk about a little bit about the differences, but I'm going to tell you right now it does not matter because the weapons kind of carry the build, and you can watch my latest YouTube video if you want to know just how good the weapons really are. So let's get into the build. The build is carried by the Headhunter. This is so this is not like a budget build. This is a build where if you just want to destroy maps at the end of the league, you want to have some fun with your monies, you want to see how fast you can go, I think this is the build. Now you can, because the weapons are so strong, you can do this on builds like Fireball. You can do builds. You can do this on builds like Spark. You can do it on any build that can wield these weapons. But I think that the Warp is really good because it's one of those skills where if you load it up to 12 stacks and you have like maybe even like just one duration node and a Solstice Virgil, you are going to be able to run through most of the map without casting. Well, obviously casting when you pick up items and stuff. We'll talk about that a little bit more too. So the build is the Winter's Orb, and the Winter's Orb is great because it's an auto turret above your head. It shoots really fast, it has good coverage, you don't really need to think about it too much. It has some nice properties with projectiles, and another great thing is that the conversion factors are very good here. Also, Winter's Orb is great because it's got a nice MTX, that has to be said, but I think the thing about it is obviously the 12 stacks. So you're probably going to need a Helm enchant for this build. With this one, if you pop a Dying Sun, you're going to be at 8 projectiles. Is this little bug with Soul Eater and Winter's Orb where the Soul Eater, although it just gives cast speed, it functions a little bit differently than actual cast speed. So for example, if I take cast speed on the tree like right here or like right up here and stuff like that, you're going to cast faster, but your Winter's Orb is not going to shoot faster. When you steal Soul Eater, not only will you cast faster and stack to 12 stacks, the Winter's Orb above you will actually shoot much faster, to a rate where sometimes it shoots so fast that it looks like a clear stream of projectiles, like a waterfall kind of effect. And it's like really weird how that works. Maybe it's unintended, maybe it'll get fixed one day, but while it's here, you really should try to take advantage of the Soul Eater. Okay, so just to give a quick little like overview of how it works. The more stacks you have, right? It's like a channeling skill. So like the more stacks you have, the faster it goes, right? So basically you want to stack up as much as you can, but you'll quickly notice that you don't need always max stacks, right? So it's kind of hard to get out of the habit of casting too much, but it's less maintenance actually than things like Blade Vortex. I hear a lot of people say they don't like the maintenance of Blade Vortex, so they probably won't like Winter's Orb, right? But trust me, when you get used to it, when you get the muscle memory down, it is actually pretty darn good. Okay, so what to talk about first? Let's talk about the basic functions of the build, because if you watch my stream from last night, I actually dropped like 25 skill points. I dropped all the unnecessary skill points. I'm currently level 91 on this guy, so I dropped 25 skill points, and I went through maps and it felt exactly the same because it's carried by the Inspired Learnings and the Headhunter. So Inspired Learning, one is right here, one is right here if you are a Pathfinder or a Deadeye, and then one is up here, and then if you're a witch, you'll actually take this one right here instead of this one down here, right? Because you're over here already, you don't have like this place right here. And what Inspire Learning does is that it steals one mod from a rare monster when you kill it, okay? And this can stack. So imagine a monster has a resist aura, it has a speed aura, and then let's say it has a crit aura, a deadly aura. It has a deadly stack, it has a resist aura, and then it has a physical to cold damage conversion, right? So what a header will do, it'll steal all three of those, right? Very good. But if you have like 3 Inspire Learnings, what it could do is it can pick like that deadly aura 3 times and stack it together. It can pick the if you're unlucky, you can pick the resist aura 3 times, right? Which isn't bad if you're not resist capped. And then of course it can pick like whatever else it has. So it is it's not mutually exclusive with one another, right? So just because this Inspire Learning picks the deadly stack doesn't mean that this one can't also pick it. So that's what makes it so good, because when the ramp up happens, you are a lot of time a monster might not have like too many good auras, right? Or too many good affixes. For example, let's say your monster has like hexproof or something, right? And it has like vile ensnare or something, right? Like vile snare, and then it has a deadly stack. So in that situation, you might not care about anything but the deadly stack, and then if the more inspired you have, the more you can pick up like the right thing. Okay, so that's how the ramp up is so much crazier. And Inspired Learning, I would say, is only good when you already have a Headhunter. Obviously, if you have like 2 or 3 before you have a Headhunter, it'll work, it'll feel pretty good, but it is nowhere near as crazy when you guarantee the full steal from the Headhunter, and then you have 3 Inspired to steal 3 more modifiers, okay? And the ramp up is just crazy when you steal the defenses as well. So like the biggest conversions for ES are, of course, you have like an ES percentage increase, but you also have things that increase your life and then convert life over to energy, so a shield. And that's how you get things like 100, 200, 500,000 ES sometimes, right? And it gets pretty crazy. So the Inspired, I would say if you have to start out with like 1, make sure you have the header first. I would say like 1 is, you might feel it, 2 is pretty good, and 3 is, I think, optimal, because there will always be 3 slots where the notables will actually benefit you. And so the way it works is that you need 4 of these notables inside the circle. Like, it has to be mostly inside. You see this one right here, Annihilation, it doesn't work. So you need like 1, 2, 3, 4. As long as there's 4 assigned inside the circle, it'll work. The way to test that is right here. You see this? When you mouse over that tiny edge right there, you see this pop up right here? It'll say when you kill a monster, you'll gain 1 of its modifiers for 20 seconds. That's how you know it works. Watch, if I refund this. Now, when I mouse over, wait. Okay, you see that? It doesn't work anymore. It doesn't say steals the monster's affix for 20 seconds. So you have to have them applied, okay? And then that's how you know it works. So yeah, so 3 is optimal, because if you look right here, let's see what we're stealing here. We're stealing the instability, we're stealing the alchemist, we're stealing the blast rays, and we're stealing the mysticism. And everything within these nodes leading up to it and the node itself is very good for the build. This is like cast speed, and this is like a lot of cast speed here, of course, right? And I mean, I guess a little bit of block, but that doesn't really matter. A little bit of damage. This is amazing for Flask. This is power charge, that's crit. This is like full-blown damage and AoE, right? So that's great. And let's look over here. This one is like, I got some spell damage leech as ES. Most of my defenses or my EHP comes from ES. I mean, the mana's not bad. Maybe you can channel a little bit longer because of this. Yeah, the jewel socket here. If you're a life-based version, maybe you're going like a self-curse version where you have life, like this is fine. Like, frenzy is more damage multiplier and attack and cast speed, and of course the resourcefulness, is EHP and regen. So all 4 of these are pretty darn good, right? I even go down here now. Look at these 4. Max res and res and evasion. This is crit multi. This is, once again, frenzy charge is amazing. And then of course life. Now life is probably like one of the worst ones because I'm mostly ES, but if you are life, it's pretty damn good. So as you can see, these are great for inspired learners. Now, where are the ones that are pretty bad? And that's like right here, because like, okay, the witch one over here, this one's also not bad, right? Like endurance charge, who cares? But you have the devotion, you have the faith and steel, and the overcharge, which is not bad. The bad one is like when you have to add 4 or 5. Okay, so the 4th one will come right here. Now you have thrill killer, unstable munitions, which is for traps. You have method to madness, which is for Chow's damage, which like you have some, but it's not like that great. And then you have this like charisma, which is like pretty much useless because our auras are solves, right? And so if you have to go down here, not only is it a lot of skill points, but it is just like not that great, and then you're gonna waste a lot of skill points in respecking into here, because like how do you get this, right? This is like 3, 6, 9, and then plus 4, 13, right? So you have to like unspec this, maybe some of this, have to unspec like either this or this, and it's like it like takes away from like the baseline goodness of the build. Okay, the build both on the witch and the ranger, you can have unnatural instinct right here to take advantage of this. That's pretty good too. But I just want to talk about the jewels for a second. So you need 3 slots for 3 slots for inspired learnings. You need 1 slot for an unnatural instinct, although it isn't necessary. You need 1 slot for a watcher's eye, and the watcher's eye, the only thing you really care about is the increased crit when you have hatred. Okay, that's like probably the best one for it. And then other than that, if you are a pathfinder, if you're a pathfinder only, you might want to slot in a conqueror's potency, right? I don't need it for this for the Deadeye because I get the 1 proj from here already, but Pathfinder, you need this jewel in order to turn your Dying Sun from 2 projectiles into 3. And okay, so that's a skill tree. Other than that, I mean, you go low life for the more damage. Cast speed's very smooth. Like the faster you can tick up to 12 stacks and then run around, the better it is. So cast speed's very good. Get as much ES as you can. And other than that, you're kind of locked in because you need the strength here and you need the strength right here. Unless you're using like null and voids, then you might not need this. And so the skill tree is kind of solved because of the locked in inspired learnings. Okay, that's a skill tree. For Deadeye, you're going to take Tailwind, and then you're going to take Far Shot, you're going to take Endless Munitions and Ricochet, right? So on this build, this Gathering Winds makes you super fast. Okay, the action speed is like it's like a more multiplier. It's a faster multiplier to like almost everything. So you will notice that Deadeye is actually the fastest map clear out of the Warbers, out of Pathfinder and Occultist. Occultist is more of the tankiest, and then Pathfinder is kind of quality of life, somewhere in between. And this is going to make you like ridiculous fast. The more skill you use, it counts each cast, each channel of Winter's Orb stacking up as a additional effect. Okay, and so like if you stack like 10 times recently, and then it'll double the Tailwind effect, right? So it'll be 20% instead of 10. So that's really crazy. And then these are just more damage. This is a damage node. It can't really chain. Winter's Orb can't chain, so this is just 10% more damage. And this is AoE. AoE is very important. I'll talk a little bit about AoE when I talk about the gem links. And additional projectile is a more multiplied directly to Winter's Orb. Okay, because it's like each projectile adds that damage. Okay, makes sense? So other than that, not much I need to talk about on the skill tree here. This is a level 91 skill tree. So in the next 9 levels, what will I get? I'll get Nimbleness. I might get Written in Blood. I might get Doomcast. You really can get whatever you want. I might get more ES. Maybe. I might get more ES here. I might get more ES down here. Who knows? It's up to you. You don't need too many skill points. Like I said, if you watched my stream from last night, I unassigned 25 skill points as of right now, and I'll still be able to clear the map exactly the same. Okay, let's talk about the gear, and then we'll talk about gems, okay? So the gear, you want these physical exploding weapons. The explosion effect on the implicit is the most important part. Now, you can watch, once again, you can watch my other YouTube video to see how, like, more detail how that works and see a clip of it in action. But you really want this implicit more than any other affix on the weapon. So I would even take these white if you can't get the rolls on it, right? That's how crazy they are. I crafted these myself. Annulled the multi-mod off there, so I got Aspect of the Cat. You can also use Aspect of the Spider if you want, whatever fits your taste. You know, you can even put like another damage roll or exalt it on there. It doesn't really matter. The implicit is the only thing that you really need, because this build is the implicit weapon effect. I have 2 of them for 6% explode percent of their life as explosion, and that is the build. The Winter's Orb is pretty good in like spreading it, but the actual full clear and the cleanup is the implicit. Can't stress that enough. You need these implicits. They are mandatory for the map clearing. You will not feel the same without them. The chest, I'm using a Chevrones because the Chevrones gives me Chow's damage protection, and gives me a little bit of ES and a little bit of resist. Not too shabby there, right? And so Chevrones wrappings allows you to go low life safely, right? Meaning you can reserve the mana on your life, and you get 30% more damage there. So pretty good. The rings aren't anything too special, as you can see here. These are just resist rings. All you're looking for on a ring is make sure that your resists are as capped as possible, and then maybe get a as close to a tier 1 roll on ES as you can, or if you're life based, go tier 1 or try to get tier 1 life, right? And then the amulet, this is also irreplaceable because the Solstice Virgil, the Shaper's presence when you kill a rare or unique, basically adds 50% duration to your skill. So that works for Winter's Orb, that works for your Flask, it works for all effects on you, even the negative ones. And it'll also make your Headhunter buffs and your Inspired Learning buffs last 50% longer. So you cannot replace this. A stat one might actually be better than the Hatred one because you don't need more damage on this build once you get everything going. So the stats will actually maybe save you some skill points on the tree, but Corrupted one, if you're gonna get Corrupted one, get some, like, I don't know, +1 max res. Get a either +1 max res, movement speed, Hatred aura effect. Is there any other auras? I mean, maybe Discipline aura effect if you can get it, and like any kind of thing. But the basic uncorrupted one is also totally fine. Okay, I don't care about the life roll because I'm ES based. Helm, you're going to want a helm with Winter's Orb has +2 maximum stages because it shoots faster and it will last longer. Okay, and then the highest ES you can get. That -9 on there is crafted on there with fossils, but it doesn't have to have that because most of your kills are going to be way further away from you than the -9 aura effect. Okay, -9 aura effect is like probably 20 units or something, 20-30 units, and that's a very small range. Okay, so you won't even notice it. If anything, you should get a hollow fossil on here. That'd be really sick. So get yourself the enchant. And then as for the booties, I also went with the fastest booties that I could find because I'm not like a self attempt chains version, right? So I want to be very fast off the starting blocks. In this build, the better, the smoother and faster you all are on the starting blocks, and by starting blocks I mean the start of a map when your character is like has nothing, right? He's just standing there like with the baseline. Maybe you can like pop all your flasks and stuff, but he kind of sucks, right? And so I want to be as fast as possible before I stole anything, so like I would feel naturally fast and naturally good throughout. So this is like my movement speed, as you can see. Right, it's not bad if I pop my silver as well. It's not too bad. It's kind of fast, and then you go zoom with the tailwind and everything later on. Okay, when you steal all the buffs. So I wanted the fastest move speed boots I can get with the enchant as well. Now, if you don't care about the enchant, you could also go with leech. Now, leech is pretty good instead of the movement speed enchant because leech will allow you to run cannot regen maps without a cinder swallow flask, and it'll feel really good. You'll still be able to channel through the cannot regen, right? On my occultist, I was not using a cinder swallow because I was using a silver flask of heat, and because I had so much regen, I didn't need like the recovery from this, and so I just like didn't do cannot regen maps, right? It was kind of annoying, or I had to like drop an aura so I have more mana, and then like put on a cinder swallow. But we'll talk about this later. So that is the booties. Get either a leech or a movement speed enchant, and then fastest move speed you can on them. Maybe cap your resists, fill out your resists, get a high ES roll. The gloves, now Shadows and Dust is there because Rampage is very strong, 20% base movement speed and 100% increased damage if you have max stacks. Also, it has cool little effects on the way between 0 and 530 kills, which can stun enemies and can like make all kinds of cool things happen. It's pretty nice to see in the maps, but mainly it's got some crit and it's got some crit molting. Remember, everything you're using is to make your character feel smooth and clear those first few rooms, those first few packs that you get like ramped up, and then you can go with the speed of light. And the ally weakness on hit is the implicit. That is the best one for this build in terms of damages, and that'll curse everything hit, and it's a big boost to the damage. Now you could also use Null and Void. Null and Void is very strong, and that physical immunity when you get it is like 2.25 seconds, so unbelievable amount of tankiness there. And it also has a strength roll, which allows you to drop strength possibly on the tree, like right here, and that's pretty cool. So Null and Void, but there's no Null and Voids with ally weakness on hit on the market right now, so that kind of sucks. I might try one out if I can find one, but Shadows and Dust very easy to. There's enough of them on the market even this late in the league, and the corruption is plentiful. So get some of these gloves. And I know that the Solstice Virgil has a free temp chains, and a quick note about that temp chains is actually free no matter what you link to it. So you know how like in Presence, that curse, if you link stuff to it, it actually like ramps up, you know what I'm saying? Like sorry, if there's anything like increases your mana, that will actually ramp that thing up, right? But temp chains is actually free. So temp chains, you can have it in a 5, like enhance, empower, blasphemy, increase AoE temp chains, right, if you wanted to, and it would still be free. Now the reason I'm not doing that on the Pathfinder or the Deadeye version is because Whispers of Doom is all the way over here. It's a lot of skill points to travel for it, but it is very safe. Once again, I didn't die a single time while mapping on the Pathfinder on the way to 100, so I didn't need it. I did have it on the Occultist because the Occultist gets a +1 curse for free. Now you could get a +1 curse Solstice Virgil, but that's like 100 exalts, right? So you're probably not doing that. But if you want to, you can go for Whispers of Doom. Just like come this way, and you will have a free defensive layer. If you would like, you can put in a 2-link, even Blasphemy, Temp Chains. And another thing you could do, another like tiny little thing you could do is, even if you don't have two curses on your character, because like this elemental weakness on hit, like most of your kills are going to be so far away from you where it won't actually be in the range of a Temp Chains Blasphemy. You could do Temp Chains, Blasphemy, and Conk Effect, because free. So the Conk Effect will shorten the aura, so only enemies that get close to you and are about to like hit you really hard will get slowed. That is one option you can do, and that way they won't override each other when it matters, if that makes sense. Okay, you could do that. That's what I was doing for a while, and it seemed to work out. But right now, I just dropped the temp chains completely in favor of other setups. Okay, but we'll talk about the gem setups in a second here. And then the belt, of course, a Headhunter, so that you can get a ramp up very easily, and it makes you super fast, right? So very nice right there. The Flask here. So for Pathfinder Deadeye, the only change is going to be the Cinder Swallow, right? So on all versions, you're going to use a Diamond Flask of Warding so that you don't get affected. Like the bad ones are LA weakness at the start. Once you get ramped up, you're going to have like 600 all resist, so it doesn't matter about LA weakness. But at the start, if you get if you roll a Sexton like lightning monsters and the Blackguard archers are at the beginning, if like 4 or 5 hit you and they crit you, they're just going to one-shot you, right? So you want to be capped from LA weakness at the start. That's when it matters. And obviously Enfeeble, temp chains is like super annoying, right? And maybe even vulnerability or other things to a good degree, but not really. So you're gonna like clear those from your character at the beginning of the map, and then you'll have like, you know, you just run through and you'll never have to worry about it again. So that's like standard on all the builds. And then you have Alchemist, Quicksilver, Flask, Adrenaline, so you can move a little bit faster. Nothing needs to be set here. Maybe try to get 26% one if you can. It is a little bit extra time. Dying Sun, this is a big DPS and protection flask. So DPS because you get 2 additional projectiles, which is a true more multiplier to the warp damage. And also, what it will work for is some of the deadliest things in this game are volatiles if they're desynced, or corpse explosions. And if you take 20% less damage from those, then you're doing pretty good, right? So it's a nice defensive layer as well. Also, on my occultist, I hit 100 without being rest capped. I had like 34 fire resist, like naturally on the occultist. And the way I fix that is I just use my dying sun. So if you're missing resist, this is like totally fine. And then the Azubi's Promise, it's like, so this conversion feeds into like everything. It feeds into the Winter Sword, it feeds into the physical explosions, which are most of the clear and most of the cleanup on the build, and it's just crazy, right? And being protected against the dot, like the Chow's damage over time, from the caustic ground, from the barrels, you know, like those things are good. Like the strange barrel actually caused like this massive explosion of Chow's damage. So any resist that you can get against these kinds of things, the ground effects, you'll probably be protected against poison because the pantheons across all the classes are the Shakira, which will make you immune to poison, and then the Lunaris, because you run, for this version, you run 2 minions, and you do want to avoid the projectiles that have chained. You know, having a little bit of dodge is really nice because you're running a Whale of Grace. Avoiding projectiles altogether, fantastic. And then move speed, you know, 8%, you might feel that at the beginning, it's pretty nice. And then physical damage reduction, so pretty good. These are my picks across all classes when you're playing this build. Okay, let's talk about this flask right here. So Cinder Swallow Urn is a very interesting flask. It is amazing because when you get the levels of ES that you can get at the beginning of a map, let's say you're at 2k, right? Or sorry, 3k. It's not that great to steal like a few percent of ES, right? What is it? It's like 3%. But when you're at 20k, 50k, right? At 50k, you kill a monster and you have 1,500 ES per monster kill. The packet on average, what, 30 monsters? It gets crazier because you can take bigger hits and then instantly regen it faster. And it's the recovery is instant and is not affected by any map modifiers. So you're actually going to find that like if you're bouncing around because you're taking a lot of hits, the recovery is better than regen unless you're an occultist. The recovery is very nice. You can scale it with different watcher size as well, but we won't talk about that. That's like, everybody knows about occultists regenning 30% base ES per second if you've killed 30 monsters or something, right? Very strong. But this recovery is like, it'll save your life, actually. It is very fast. It is very strong. Recovering mana is also nice. Once again, it cannot regen. And life is fine because if you choose to use a blood magic setup, you can recover the life and then use that life for blood magic for things like casting possibly a Jolem, casting a Flame Dash maybe. Now, I don't use that, but you can always swap around these gems to however you see fit, okay? So very powerful flask. And it also has the V-Lead mod where you can get a little bit of increased crit chance, and all these things, once again, are going to make you feel better at the very, very beginning of a map. So some nice flask here. If you are a occultist, instead what you'll do is you will take a silver flask of heat. Okay, now you can use abyssal jewels for onslaught, but it's hard to fit them in, so silver flask of heat. And also on this character I should be using silver flask of heat, right? But that's only really applicable for strong boxes, and by the time you're opening a strong box, you're gonna have like 100,000 ES. You're not gonna be able to be killed by a freeze. And so that's why I didn't take it here, because the occultist, the regen is very fast, so you don't need much leech, you don't need much recovery. But on the Pathfinder and the Deadeye, it is you're not really regenning, right? You either have to leech or you have to recover. So I chose to go with recovery here. Okay, those are the flasks. That is all the gear there. I'm going to talk about the links now, right? So the links, you need a lightning jolt because cast speed is feels very good quality of life on this build, so I chose that jolt. Once everything's set up, you don't need more damage, okay? So a lot of things are skipped in, like I skip damage in favor of quality of life or like utility, right? So blood magic is linked to Herald of the Herald of Ass right here, right? Because this is very strong because the physical damage, the extra that applies to the physical explosion, and having more coverage, more cleanup is always good, okay? And when you do like when you have like 1400 crit multi, 1500, 1100, it doesn't even matter. You're gonna have a lot of overkill damage. So that burn is significant even if you're not a dot build. So Herald of Ash, really good there. That's on life. And then the other thing is like on here, I have aspect of the cap, but you can use whatever you want. You can actually use aspect of the spoder if you want to do that. That is also defensive and offensive layer. It's a more multiplier to damage per sec, and it slows them by 30%, which is huge. They like won't be able to move, especially if it have temp chains in there as well. You can use aspect of the avian for, I guess, 10% more damage sometimes, and movement speed. You can not use an aspect at all, and you can use Herald of Thunder. So if you don't choose to use an aspect on your life, just link the blood magic to a Herald of Thunder, and then move your lightning jewel into another slot. You know, drop like a support gem from either Animate Guardian or the like an increased duration from the casting damage taken. Okay, so those are your options there. And also Herald of Thunder breaks barrels for you, and it gives you a really cool MTX on your character. So Herald of Thunder is pretty cool too. So that's a swap right there. On the, let's see what I have. Oh, okay. So the main thing on the mana, Hatred gives the, sorry, where's Hatred? Hatred is on the mana. It gives you a flat crit to like everything, right? When you have Hatred, when you have the Watcher's Eye, and that applies to the physical explosion, applies to everything, okay? And it obviously converts some of your physical to cold. That applies to the physical explosions, but then you also deal more cold damage. And since Winter's Orb is a baseline cold skill, it's you know, before all the conversion, it's like essentially 90% more cold damage. Very nice. And then it gets amplified by this implicit here, but you don't need that. Herald of Ice, once again, more cleanup is always good. You know, shattering, having a little bit extra ice damage, you know, it's a cold base spell. So like you're gonna shatter everything. It's gonna be protected. You're gonna be protected against porkies, all kinds of detonate strong bosses, detonate beyond bosses. Herald of Ice is pretty nice. You know, it spreads just like Herald of Ass. More coverage, more AoE, more cleanup, the better, right? Like Occultist gets Profane Bloom as well. These things all can go off at the same time, so you're just cleaning up, right? So actually Occultist is like 4 explosions. We got Herald of Ice explosion, Herald of Ass explosion, not really an explosion, but you know what I mean. Profane Bloom explosion, and then physical explosion weapon, that explosion, right? And I guess if you want to go full potato, you could do like Impulsas, and you could get like a 5% fire explosion weapon, but those don't chain off itself, so it's whatever, right? Maybe I'll do one of those builds later. It could be pretty funny. And then the discipline for a little bit more. Yes, now you could actually drop discipline. Once again, I got to 100 with 4,000 ES on the Pathfinder. My Occultist had 7.4k with discipline. If you drop discipline, it had like 6.4 maybe. Doesn't really matter. If you really need to drop an aura, just drop your discipline. You're probably not gonna notice, right? And then link to enlighten so that you can actually fit these auras. Actually, as you can see from my numbers here, wait, let me just do this. The auras are very, very tight. Okay, so this is like the setup because of the tightness of the what's remaining. Now, once again, if you swap your aspect for Herald of Thunder on the life, it won't matter. You'll be fine. Okay. What else is there? There is a Flame Dash. Flame Dash is very nice, especially if you choose to do Barrows. Barrows is a kind of a map where you need Flame Dash, and other maps like Underground Sea, the Flame Dash can get you out of a dead end. So that's really good. Flame Dash is linked to faster casting because it links it makes the Flame Dash animation cancel a lot faster. It makes you feel much quicker on the Flame Dash, and that's really good. I like the Enlighten here. That's just to level, but it does make the Flame Dash mana cost less, and that's always nice, right? And then in the boots, I got a Immortal Call setup, level 1 CWDT, level 3 Immortal Call. That's the standard setup. You can link it with the increased duration. This one's 2120, but 2023 is actually better by a small margin. And then my Whale Grace here. Now the Whale Grace here, I used to use haste, but I didn't need it. So the Grace is a massive defense because look at the skill right here. 34% chance to dodge pretty much everything, right? And then I couple that with my cat, because when the cat activates the second part, 50% chance to avoid all damage when hit, right? And then you couple that, like if I ever do get hit, I have a 5% dodge right here. And then I also have evasion. I think I have like 25% evasion. So all these things make it so it's very hard to like kill you, unless you stand in a pack of bears or get sniped at the beginning of a map or in a nexus, okay, that has like penetration. So this setup, the Grace, if you look right here, because of Solstice Virgil, that thing lasts for 19.3. It lasts for 19.3 seconds. Okay, that's so long, and the soul gain prevention is 19.8 seconds, right? I don't know if that actually gets multiplied by the Solstice Virgil, but the uptime is very high. And then also, since the soul gain, it's like 50 souls, right? So it's like kind of a lot, but you kill the first room of a map and you're gonna have this up. It's gonna make it very hard to kill you, and that's why it's so amazing. It lasts a long time, lasts longer than Whale Haste, and is more effective in my opinion. So get yourself one of these. If you need to drop gems for like another color to like move something over, drop the increased duration. It won't really matter too much. And then in the gloves we have an Animate Guardian. Now, why am I using this? It is actually pretty sick. So look what it gives me. If it is close by, it won't always be close by. It'll actually be very rarely be next to you, right? Because it like teleports next to you sometimes. But if you're on a boss, sitting on a boss, it will be there. And so Fortify, right? I'm taking reduced damage because he's using a Kingmaker. And then I have the the Kingmaker's presence, right? So now my character has Culling Strike. I mean, out of rarity, why not? And then additional crit multi when he's nearby. And that is from a Kingmaker Despot Axe that you can equip on your Animate Guardian. Other things he's wearing a Gruthical's Pelt for the 5% regen. He's wearing a Vol's Vision as a helmet, as a defensive, right? Some resist and some regen as well. Now you can swap out that helmet for a Leer Cast for a little bit a tiny bit extra damage if you want. He's wearing the Southbound Gloves just for more life, and then for his booties he's wearing Victario's Flights, which is right here. You see this? Victario's Flight, you move with increased movement speed. That's 10% increased movement speed for you and your allies, and so it's speed. So the things that this AG Animate Guardian gives you is incredible when he's near you, right? And I've done this setup where he doesn't really die. So you might want to take him out when you're delving, okay? Take out, if you, like, here's how it works. If you take out the gem, he'll disappear, but the items will remain on the gem. If you swap this gem to another character, the items will disappear, so be careful. The Enemy Guardian is, you just cast him again, okay? So you do this, you just cast him again. Pretty good. Oh, also recommendation for gems. If you're gonna like do a gem swap here, you see how when I swap my weapons, my auras disappear, right? And it sucks. You might want to take your auras off of like the weapons and put them in here and then swap some stuff around. So that's just like quality of life, because this is like if I need to check my offhand gem leveling, I lose my auras, which is super annoying. Okay. So the Animate Guardian is linked to Empower. Obviously you want to Empower 4 if you're going to do a 4 link, because every level that the Guardian gets, he gets a little bit more life, which keeps him alive. The Resist, the Minion Resist, and the Minion Life Support. And so now he pretty much doesn't die. Once again, in delves, if you get a Tornado node or like some really deep delve node, he'll get killed, okay? So be careful of that. Take him out take out the gem during delving. I highly recommend it. And I think I covered everything. Now we're gonna talk about the Winter's Orb. So the Winter's Orb is right here. GMP is a more multiplier. I know it says like less damage, but you have to remember adding projectiles is a direct more multiplier. So if you have one projectile, that's like whatever. If you have add 4 projectiles before the less multipliers, that's 5 times more damage, right? So it's like insane. Okay, and it's not like 80% less damage, right? So pretty damn good there. Now the increased crit is just so you have a easier time in the first few rooms of the map. You will notice that in any map you do, your crit chance is going to be 100% on average, okay? It really is. Your crit multi is going to be probably 1200 on average, okay? So this is just to make you feel smoother at the beginning. If you want to drop this, you can drop it if you want, but I wouldn't recommend it. Conk Effect, I'm using this to test out just because I'm running Toxic Sewers, but most of the time, 90% of the time, I use Ink AoE if you're not doing Toxic Sewers. Because Ink AoE, now everyone in every other video I've watched will tell you that Ink AoE doesn't matter, but it does, okay? The coverage for this build is from the physical and all the heralds. And so the bigger the hits of the Winter's Orb are, the more likely you're going to prolift all those effects, all those on-death effects to a bigger area. So Ink AoE is actually better, okay? If you're going to do a boss thing like a safe house or something where you don't care about that at all, or maybe you can't feel it, then you can put it in conk effect, okay? Like in the toxic sewer, there's like not that much coverage, so right, it's like very narrow, so you don't need to. But I'm telling you, use ink AoE, you'll feel it more than this. And if you can't, then you're probably running toxic sewers. Okay, so use this instead. It's actually a lot better. The infused channeling, this one's really good because it's a more damage multiplier, very fair, right? Like controlled destruction is like 45, right? This one's 40, but you also take less damage from fizz, so it's like protective. It gives you a cool MTX because watch this. You see how when I channel, okay, look at my tentacle. Wait, you guys can't see. Look at my tentacles. You see how they turn blue? Look at that. The tentacles turn blue. Wow, and that's from that gem right there. It's defensive, it's offensive, and it gives a more multiplier to the Winter's Orb. So it's like even better, I guess, than most other sword gems. Amazing new gem, by the way. Thanks, Grinding Gear. And then control destruction here, right? Just for a straight up more multiplier. And that's about it for the links. You can do some weird stuff. You can throw in Cold to Fire. You can throw in whatever you want. But this is what I like. It clears pretty fairly. And that is all of the gems. Okay. Now let's talk about, this video is like really long. It's already been 39 minutes. Let's talk about the playstyle in some of the minutia, right? Let me, whoops. Let me do this real quick. Put this back on, put this back on. Okay. Channeling. Look at the channeling stack right there. It lasts a long time if you have the Solstice Virgil up. Right now it's like ticking down, but that is without Solstice Virgil. Imagine that times like 1.5, right? And okay, if I hit my silver flask, I cast a little bit faster. But you see how easy it is to stack all the way back down, right? So it's ticking down. But like if I need to stack it up, it's fast. When you're in a map, you'll have Soul Eater. You'll have like a bunch of more cast speed modifiers. So this will it will go up like that. So you don't need to cast that much. When do you cast in a map? Well, casting in a map is when you enter it. When you enter it, stack up to 12 and then run. And to recast it, I highly recommend you do not recast until you need to pick up an item, right? And what I mean by that is, like, I'll just show you. Maybe I have some monsters here, but okay. So let's say that this whale orb, it dropped right here, right? So I'm casting, well, let's say I'm running. I wasn't actually casting, okay? And I see the whale orb. Because you're going so fast, okay? It's hard to pick up items while you're moving, right? Like I just did it there, but okay, it's very hard to pick up items while you're moving. So what you want to do is when you see something on your loot filter, okay? The times that you cast are when you see the item, you will spam, okay? You'll cast to lock your screen, because when you're moving, the second you hit your button for casting, you stop and the screen freezes. And while you're casting, make sure to hold down your button. I use E. While you're holding down the cast button, you're going to be at 12, and by the time you're at 12, your mouse will have picked up the item, and then you let go, and then you're on your way, and then you're back at 12. So let's say, okay, so once again, let's say I'm at 6 stacks. I stop the camera, I get to 12, and then I pick up my item. And in that split second, you need to stop the screen. You'll both pick up the item and get a 12 stacker again. I know it's like kind of hard, weird, but, and other times when you can cast are when there's a strong box, because when you hit a strong box, you can't go anywhere, right? The strong box has a spawn time. If it's stream of monsters, there's a bigger spawn time. You gotta wait for the items to fall out of it to see if you dropped anything on your loot filter. What else? If there's an abyss, if there's a breach, you can cast all you want. If you are waiting for an Alba or a Zana to cast their portals to go into a memory or an incursion temple, that takes a few seconds. You can cast when you're waiting for that. Don't cast unless you have one of these situations where you have to wait around. That's like the best way to play this build. Now I fall into a trap where sometimes I lag, and it's hard to, like, you can start to see on the screen, but like when you're lagging and desynching, then you might as well just like cast when you're like bouncing between, and I do that a lot, or like when I'm stuck. But really, to play this the most efficiently, only cast in one of the scenarios that I just mentioned, okay? Picking up items to lock the screen in place to pick up your item, strong boxes, memories, breaches, abysses, in the boss room maybe, if it takes you longer to kill them, if there's any phases to any fights, and of course the incursion temples, okay? And that's the best way to play it. Other than that, I don't think there's anything like that's like too fancy. That's really the build, right? It is the weapons. Playstyle play whatever you want. Occultist is probably the safest because you start with like 7k ES and then like skills out of control, free curse, free malediction. Applying curses through hexproof is very strong. Okay, it's like really nice. But Deadeye is the fastest. Deadeye is by far the fastest. I realized that it was the fastest at level 80. Okay, and once again, I was playing this last night on stream with what's 91 minus 25? 65. 66. I was playing with level 66 skill points, okay? And it was still faster than Pathfinder. Pathfinder just has quality of life because you'll never run out of flasks, and you can use the Cinder Swallow without, and you'll also be freeze protected. Other than that, that's about it. That's about it. There's other, like, you can watch Empyrean Gaming's video if you want to see, like, a self-cursed Temptions version, maybe. But yeah, that's it. Okay, that's all there is. This is a long-ass video. I'm sorry about that. But thank you, everyone. Thank you for watching my video. If you have any questions, you can ask below. Okay, bye. Bye, guys. And look for the POV below. Okay, bye. Thank you.